A couple of weeks ago, I wrote this editorial for the International Forecaster, 5 mind-blowing technologies that the government will use for spying, highlighting some, I think, legitimately incredible technologies that unfortunately are immediately going to be turned to the dark side. One example of which is the visual microphone. For those who haven't checked this out, you simply have to. It really is an amazing technology. You can, through video of a room, reconstruct the sound that was taking place in that room by taking a look at the microscopic movements in the surface of various objects in that room created by the sound waves in the room itself. Check this out.
In the silent high-speed video shown here on the left, we see the leaves of a potted plant shown on the right. The video was recorded while a nearby loudspeaker played the notes to "Mary Had a Little Lamb." Even when we play the video in slow motion here, the vibrations caused by the music are so subtle that they move the plant's leaves by less than 1/100th of a pixel, making the plant appear still to the naked eye. But by combining and filtering all of the tiny motion happening across the image that you see, we are able to recover this sound.
Oh, that's right. They don't even need a microphone to record sound anymore. They can get it from a high-speed camera in the case of this potted plant. But as the actual article in which they revealed this technology denotes, they were able to do this with regular commercial-grade 60 frame per second DSLR cameras. So literally some incredible, amazing technology that, of course, is immediately going to be used by evil players for evil purposes. And I don't think we have to go very far to see how valuable that could be to all sorts of spying agencies of various sorts that want to keep tabs on people and don't have a way of getting a microphone into a room, but might have video surveillance footage or what have you. Again, the possibilities of that technology are, I think, manifest and quite immediately apparent. And as I say, there are 5 different examples: X-ray backscatter vans going around irradiating everyone and seeing through, and cell phone towers, fake cell phone towers in Cessna airplanes, and all of this incredible spy gadgetry. But the point that I made at the end of this editorial was to say, we should be cautious when we see these kinds of stories talking about the incredible technologies that they're coming out with, because certainly when they're applied in various criminal investigations, they can and often are bogus, erroneous, way oversold, specifically so that the feds can prosecute whoever they want and gullible juries will believe them. So as a follow-up to that, I wrote this editorial, 4 Ways the Crime Lab Can Frame You, talking about, yes, some supposed forensic technologies that are really bogus, made-up pseudoscience. For example, the entire field of microscopic hair analysis has been one decades-long joke that the Federal Bureau of Investigation has been playing on the public of America and elsewhere around the world for decades. They've just completely made this up, more or less. It's so subjective that when they do the microscopic hair analysis, they cannot even differentiate human hair and dog hair, which would be humorous if it were not for the fact of certain people like Santai Tribble, who went to jail for decades for a murder he did not commit based on a single strand of hair collected at the scene, which on DNA analysis, almost 30 years later, it was found to be a dog hair. Yes, he was convicted because a dog hair was matched to his hair by a forensic hair analyst who, during the trial, testified that the chance of this being not his hair is 1 in 10,000. That is to say, it is so certain that this is the man we're looking for that you would be crazy not to convict him. So, of course, the jury convicted him. He went to jail for decades, and decades later it was found it was not even a human hair, but a dog hair that had helped convict him. So there are other examples of that in here. how they can't even differentiate urine samples from urea nitrate explosive samples, and other things like that. The lie detector test, which is a lie, and other things that they use that they try to convince juries is bedrock super science. And of course, they're helped along by CSI Wherever and Law and Order, fill in the blank edition, which have indoctrinated the public to believe that these forensic detectives are infallible with their amazing technologies, which very often are pseudoscience that are designed to convict people. Well, I was delighted to see in the comments of this editorial, this comment from Ismato95, who pointed me in the direction of this article to Fox 31. He said, "This article caught my eyes. The FBI arrested a man who apparently has an alibi and a key witness, has claimed him to be innocent. But of course, the FBI's fancy computers know all." So if you click on over to this story, new arrest warrant issued for man who bank teller said police wrongly arrested for robbery. It is an incredible and harrowing tale. It's about Steve Talley, who was arrested for a pair of bank robberies. And after his attorney came up with a soundproof, lockproof alibi that he was at work that day, and there are time-stamped recordings of his phone calls that he was making at work, selling financial instruments for Transamerica. Once they produced that, they dropped charges and he was let go. But not, of course, until he had been thoroughly beaten to a pulp by the police who arrested him, the SWAT team that came to arrest him, and he lost his job, and he lost his family. His wife left him. He hasn't seen his kids in 17 months. He ended up living in a homeless shelter, and after all of that, the feds re-arrested him on the basis of facial recognition cameras.
Talley was rearrested at this homeless shelter where he was living at the time.
I had a family, I had a career, and I haven't seen my kids in like 17 months.
Now he was back in jail, this time just for the second robbery. Prosecutors insisted FBI facial recognition technology showed it wasn't Talley in the first bank robbery, but it was him in the second one.
It's just ridiculous. I knew it wasn't me. I mean, it had someone that's supposed to be 175 pounds. I'm 240. I'm almost 6'4".
More importantly, Talley's defense attorney noticed something the facial recognition technology fails to point out. Stephen Talley has a mole on his right cheek, something you don't see on the suspect, even with FBI enhancements. Have you ever been so happy to have a mole on your face?
Yeah, I've had this mole for a while.
And in fact, if they can miss a mole on a guy's face, I don't know how anyone can rely on this facial recognition technology.
Yes, good point. How can people rely on the technology? The answer, of course, is that they can't, because, again, they're going to use anything they can to convict whoever they want. And this is just one story, a tragic story of a person whose life has been ruined by, first being wrongly arrested and then being wrongly rearrested on the basis of this faulty identification through this bogus technology. But I think this is really just the thin edge of the wedge. And once we start to get these facial recognition cameras and the mind reading cameras, they can detect by the minute changes in your face whether you're lying or not, or whether you're about to commit a violent act, which they are already trying to roll out ideas like they can start to tinker with this technology. Once they start getting that grid in place, then it is a question of convincing the public that the technology is real and that it works. And when the public believe it, well, then it's in the bag for them. So we have to absolutely resist all of these types of technologies that they're going to try to convince us, it's infallible. The computer has declared you guilty, therefore you are. No matter how absolutely tight your alibi is, no matter how many witnesses say it wasn't you, if the camera says it was you, we will rearrest you and continue to ruin your life. Anyway, just a very sad warning, but I thought it was very apropos, so thank you to Ismodo95 for pointing that out. And if you haven't checked out these editorials, I'll put the links in the show notes so you can check them out along with this story. Some chilling stuff, but I think we got to know about it. Once again, this is James Corbett at CorbettReport.com.